Welcome to day 3 of Watches and Wonders. It's time to dive into the world of watchmaking. Welcome to Watches and Wonders 2023. I'm Olivia Kinghorst. Every morning I'll be here at 9:30 a.m. to guide you through the day ahead. Here on the morning show, it's really about where we can sit down with CEOs, get a deeper dive into new novelties, plus show you around the salon. Speaking of which, if you are here, make sure to come up, say hi, tune in, and take a seat. And for our audience here, are you having fun? Give me a little wave, maybe we can show them around. So, come on up, take a seat, and we've got an exciting program ahead of the day for you. So with that, let's kick off the morning show. Now, from tennis stars to K-pop stars, let's take a look at all the highlights from a very star-studded day 2.
Day 2 of Watches and Wonders Geneva. And we were everywhere spotting some of the biggest names in the world of sports, music, and adventure. Are you liking Geneva?
Well, I love the city, always loved it, coming here. And
have a great time. On a fast speed, the legendary tennis player was headed to his appointment at Rolex, a brand he serves as ambassador since the year 2001.
Un saludo. Hola, un abrazo.
Yes, Ronaldinho, the iconic Brazilian footballer, came to get his new watch at Rebellion. He became an ambassador recently last December and developed a new limited collection.
Nice to meet you.
We even got to see Lei Zhang, a K-pop star and big ambassador for Hublot. After all, the Asian community represents almost half of the sales of luxury watches. And finally, we couldn't miss the opportunity to speak with some of the major ambassadors of Montblanc, including Nim Sai, who has beaten multiple world records climbing all 14 of the world's highest mountains in just 7 months. So what is it that motivates you the most about being an ambassador of Montblanc?
I think it's the innovation. What I really love about them is in partnership, it has to be fair. They have always been fair with me. They look after their athletes, and it's a family.
If his face doesn't sound familiar yet, try watching his Netflix documentary, 14 Peaks. And finally, we sat down with this Italian explorer who made his first ascent of Everest without supplemental oxygen.
We are going for adventures. And in this dimension, time is very important. Climbing up a mountain, I need a watch to calculate my possibilities to use the daylight for reaching not the summit, to reach a safe place. Being out at 8,000 meters a night with 40 below zero, it's deathly dangerous.
And that's a wrap for today. I can't wait to see who or what we'll get to meet next.
All of that action just on day 2. Let's now take a view from the very top. Please welcome now our very first CEO guest of the day, David Chaumet, CEO of Baume Mercier. Thank you so much for joining us nice and early. We just saw the review there. A lot of action packed on the second day. I hope you've been enjoying yourself so far.
we did. Good morning, Olivia. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it has been a great day for us as well.
Wonderful, and I'm sure it's a great day going to be ahead. But let's talk about you now. Big year for the brand, 50th anniversary of the Riviera watch. Now, back in 1973, the Maison really wanted to do something bold. How has it actually evolved now through the generations?
It has been designed in 1973 by Mr. Gate with a really thin, pure and elegant design. First timepiece in steel with a sport activity watch for the time. All year long, this is the 5th generation this year for the Riviera. It has evolved to a stronger design with keeping the same code than at the origin, making it really stunning, hosting many complications as our manufacture movement, Clifton, the Baumatic, sorry.
Okay, and tell me how the latest versions are reinventing the Riviera.
So the latest version, we went with the team through design as close as possible from the origin, taking into consideration as well the evolution of the design and the taste of the clients. We went by extending the collection through smaller diameter, 39mm, to be as close as possible from the origin, as well as reintroducing a sport activity watch, diver activity watch with the Riviera 42 Azure 300 meters, hosting as well the Baumatic movement.
Well, this is very special, and I want to get more into the details. Something incredibly close to heart is this Baumatic movement. You revealed this in-house movement in 2018. Explain to our audience exactly why this has been so significant for you.
So this movement has been among the first in the industry to host really a powerful in-house design first, as well as five days per reserve and many technical features that enable it to have a smooth use and a long time use for this movement. It's as well as a platform for us to host complication. So 3 hands for the regular Baumatic, as well as the date moon phase, and perpetual calendar. And we are really happy to announce this year the extension of the Baumatic warranty. We are moving to 8 years warranty period for the Baumatic movement in Riviera, as well as in our Clifton collection.
So a big year for you. Now, since we are talking about views from the top and you're a CEO at the helm of your company, I'd like to get your view. What do you think are going to be the biggest talking points of the watch industry this year? Something that we didn't talk about last year.
I think the client is the next real chapter. It has been initiated direct connection of the Maison with the client. They are really in the center of our preoccupation. And then they are inside our organization, inside all our development, new design and contribution through Riviera. And it's one of the major points of evolution, according to me.
Well, thank you so much. Speaking of clients, I think it's time for you now to get back to your clients and all the coffee drinking and networking out there. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Our next guest of the day is CEO of Hermès Horloger, Laurent Dordet. Thank you so much to have you here once more again. I'd like to focus on the performance of Hermès watchmaking over the past 2 to 3 years. A lot has happened, but if you really had to identify it, what would be the standout moments and the milestones for you?
Good morning, Olivia.
Good morning.
And good morning, everyone. Yes, this has been 3 crazy years for all of us, for very unusual years, COVID, after COVID, etc. I would say the first milestone is clearly the adaptation to the post-COVID world. So during the COVID, we had to adapt to the situation, to create new moments with our customers, to create new relationships with them. And after COVID, we capitalized on this new proximity we have with our final customers and also the press and influencers. And it helps a lot in this afterwards period. Probably the second milestone is connected, is e-commerce. We invested a lot in e-commerce. So Hermès is now present in all the countries where we have also stores. And it's to sell, but it's also to provide an omni-channel experience to our customers, which buy here and collect there and get information from internet and so on. So it's a part of our sales right now, even for watches, which is not the more simple product to sell on e-commerce, but it's significantly growing and it's a good part of the omni-channel journey. And for sure, the third milestone is products. Over this 3 years period, we launched very successful products, some fanciful complications, as time traveling time last year. Received 2 awards for that in Geneva. I have it right now, by the way. And also, 2 years ago, it was our HO8 line, sportive line.
Which we'll get to.
Which I will get tomorrow, I guess, and which is key for our development, which is a good factor of our takeoff in sales.
So all in all, an incredibly busy 2 to 3 years. I can't imagine that you've managed to squeeze in a holiday there with everything you've described.
It's an ocean that is sometimes far away.
But you love your job, so...
I love my job. My teams love their job. The figures have been tripling over 3 years. Mm-hmm. And it's for us, all my teams, a great pride But more than the figures, it proves that Hermès' legitimacy as a watchmaker is growing, and that's what we look forward.
Well, I feel the passion there. I want to look at the booth this year. Every year you propose a different scenography at the stand. So if visitors are walking by this year, what are they going to be seeing?
The booth scenography is always an allusion to the latest novelty. So this year the story is all about deploying H08 line, exploring the finesse of materials such as carbon fiber, aluminum fiber, with glass fiber with aluminum. And so we briefed a French artist, a young French artist called Clément Vieille, saying, well, tell us about the finesse of time, the finesse of materials, invent something. And he came back with a stunning and crazy idea, a garden full of a carousel of strange shapes that is moving around everywhere. So please come to see the stand, and it's very light, very poetic, and very typical from the brand, I guess.
And final thoughts. We said we talk about H08, but you've already mentioned it. Let's get your short and sweet answer on this. How does it fit in with the overall spirit of the Maison?
Oh, this line is bearing, as far as I say and as far as my customers are saying, a very strong Hermès style, talking about geometry, which is part of Hermès vocabulary, in design, talking about shapes, proportion, mixing and matching materials. So this year we come with lightness, with robust and light materials. We come with a full playful and colorful collection. We come with a new complication, which is a chronograph, very adapted to this line. So I hope this fits in with the Hermès spirit.
A true reflection of the brand. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
It's time maybe to see you next year then.
I hope.
Take care.
You.
Third guest of the day, Nicolas Andrietta, CEO of Roger Dubuis. Welcome to the morning show. I love the choice of color you've gone for today.
Thank you. Good morning, Olivia.
Good morning. Let's start with the word hyper. I walked past the booth this morning and everywhere I see hyper, hyper, hyper. It's a word that you're very fond of. Just explain to our audience what you mean by hyper-horology.
Well, hyper-horology, in fact, it's a concept embedded in our DNA since the very early days of the brand. You know, but recently we've been discussing with my team, we've been talking about our messaging, and we decided, we have been agreeing on the fact that if there was a word that could define Roger Dubuis in its entirety, that word will be excess. Now, excess can easily slip within the dark side of the force. And we decided to take the etymology of the word. Excedo from Latin means to go beyond. We made it our purpose. Actually, this is in fact somehow also connecting to the human nature, this idea of always exceeding, always going beyond, challenging ourselves, exploring, researching. This is part of what we are. And at Roger Dubuis, this is exactly what we do with our interpretation, a more expressive and contemporary interpretation of haute horlogerie.
So potentially, and I'm not trying to give away anything, maybe next year we might see the word excess instead.
Excess is us. You can see it in everywhere, in everything we do and everywhere we go. Come to see our booth and you will understand better.
Well, Roger Dubuis is known for pushing the boundaries, thinking outside the box. Give us some examples of how we actually see this in your approach to innovation.
Well, I have to say innovation is really at the center of everything we do at Roger Dubuis. It's not a process. It's in fact a question of mindset. Legends, or some people say that there is even a place in the center of our manufacture where all our innovation is concentrated. In fact, we put all our creative people, all our engineers in a place to stimulate creativity and innovation at the top. In the last few years, we came with many patents. It's actually a thing that I push all the time to my team. We need to continue inventing. We need to continue crafting the future of fine watchmaking. And this is who we are once again.
So what is this creative process like?
Well, our creative process is something embedded in all our team. It's somehow iterative, it's shared, it's a shared process. And it goes along two axes. First, performance, with everything we do to perfect our movements, our calibers. And then it goes on craftsmanship. Our watches, our timepieces have to be beautiful objects, and we take very good care of finishing every single component by hands so to get something amazing and stunning, like our Knights of the Round Table, a perfect example of performance and craftsmanship.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. We look forward to seeing your booth and looking forward to seeing more excess in general.
Thank you very much, Olivia. Have a great day.
Last but not least, I'd like to bring to the table Nicolas Baume, CEO of Van Cleef Arpels. Welcome back to the show. We've been saying that to many of the CEOs because they're regular faces. Now, we're at a watch fair surrounded by many timepieces, but in the case of your maison, we're talking about jewelry that tells the time. Is that correct?
Good morning, and yes, it is correct. I think for a lot of our colleagues, developing a watch is really about telling the time or measuring performance. For us, it's more about telling a poetic story, or sometimes integrating a function into a piece of jewelry. And this is what we wanted to highlight for this edition of the fair.
So explain to me how the jewelry know-how really complements the watchmaking craft at Van Cleef. How do you marry the two together?
By tradition, I think, for centuries, there was really a tradition to incorporate a watch functionality that will tell the time into a piece of jewelry. That would not necessarily be a bracelet. It could be a brooch, it could be an object, it could be a pendant or a necklace. And that's a tradition that from the very early days of the Maison in the early 20th century, we paid tribute to, notably with chatelaine. There are these kind of brooches that were historically inspired by the Renaissance, where you had a hanging watch from a very, very decorated brooch that you could wear on your lapel. And this is really where we associate the traditional crafts of jewelry, so stone setting, polishing, working the metal, with the integration of a movement that we don't manufacture ourselves, but that we source from the best manufacturer.
So what was your source of this year's inspiration then? Because I've passed it before and I'm seeing a lot of poetry, journey through time. Explain to us what you mean there.
The way we wanted to build the booth and our presence this year is really around the idea of an enchanted forest at sundown. So it's, I think, a very poetic and warm atmosphere. And here we concentrated on a few objects, some automatons, and also on a few watches. One of the main ones for this year's collection is a revisiting of the Ludo watch that was created in the late 40s, inspired by Louis Arpels' nickname. It was called Ludo by the family. And it's really exactly a high jewelry bracelet that incorporates in a hidden manner a watch. So you can push on some elements on the top of the watch, it will open flaps and you will reveal the dial.
Well, speaking of the Maison, I just want to focus quickly. You have a strong connection to art and culture. How are you going to find new ways to express yourself and build upon this connection?
Well, we have ongoing programs, and it's really a matter of continuity. I would mention the School of Jewelry Arts, and more recently, new developments in our relationship with the world of dance and choreography. We've created in the last 3 years a program called Dance Reflections, where we are actually supporting dance festivals, dance performance all around the world. We're also partnering with the Geneva Ballet.
Okay, well, something possibly to look forward to after Watches and Wonders. Thank you very much, Nicolas Baume.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Every day, we take you inside the salon to show you a new part of the fair. Today, Ariana Kota is showing us a time exhibition that you won't want to miss.
Olivia, this exhibition really shows how the tick of the clock is part of everyone's life around the world. The artist Karine Bozan took 200 pictures in 20 different countries over the period of 6 years. All the while asking the same question. What time is it?
9:47.
Oh, perfect timing. Guys, this is Aurélie Straight and of course our artist of it all, Karine Bozan. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
With pleasure.
Aurélie, let's start. What was your, what inspired you to pick Karine out of all of the artists for this exhibition?
Okay, yeah. We met Karine and we felt absolutely compelled by her exceptional work, which shows which shows the diversity of the world through a simple and universal gesture originated by watchmakers.
The humans of time, am I right, Karine? What was your thought process of it all?
Le départ de ce projet documentaire était d'ancrer l'humain au centre de l'image et de leur demander leur perception de leur propre temps. Et c'est ce qui donne l'intérêt de ce projet au long cours depuis plus de 10 ans et que je vais continuer sans doute jusqu'à la fin de ma vie.
Oh, okay. So you're going to continue this across your life. So as a photojournalist, you've been traveling for many years, and you've taken the opportunity to merge both passions, right? The time, the passion of time, and the passion of journalism in general. And you wanted to make it all spontaneous, right? Making the a profile of the humans, really the humans of time. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was great to meet you. Very lovely. But as you know, time is precious and it flies, which is why we need to head back to the studio with Olivia.
So from around the world, back to Geneva, stay with us because we have Timepiece Talk where we get up close and personal with the watches. Well, speaking of time, you know what time it is. It's time where we get to look at all the watches on display. We have our wonderful expert once again. I'm seeing some nice smiles bright and early. Joanna Lange, welcome. Carson Chan, Gianfranco Ricciol. Great to have the trio back with us again. And Joanna, you're going to be presenting the watches today. So why don't we start with you? And actually, before we start, it's only day 3 of the event. I'm wondering how much of the event you've actually seen, because this year it's bigger, better, and let's say we're getting a lot more steps in this time.
Definitely. So I think I've made a really speed shot through all the brands, but definitely looking forward to getting more time with each individual brand.
Yeah, still excited because we are even not at half of the fair, so we're still excited to see the next novelties.
Exactly, and maybe by the end of the week we'll be all looking extremely fit.
Sure.
So Joanna, let's start with you with the first watch. What is this really paying tribute to?
Yes, Olivia, so this is the Angelus Chrono Date, and it is paying tribute to a 1942 chronograph model from Angelus. They're very famous in chronograph design and manufacture. And we see this piece in titanium case and bracelet this year with this beautiful fern green dial. So the pushers are clearly marked on the side of the case. We have a carbon composite with these clearly marked start and stop and reset buttons. So we can, I don't know if you can see that, start the chronograph moving. We can stop it with this 2 o'clock pusher and then reset to 0. Very clearly identified. However, as the name suggests, we also have the date, which is shown by this little red arrow, tipped hand, at just about the 11 o'clock position now, showing the 29th, today's date, of course. And this is very unique to have this date on the peripheral of the dial. So carbon composite, as we see on the side of the pushers, and it's actually a container holding the movement, which gives extra protection. On the back, we have the self-winding Angelus star above a tungsten rotor. So this is giving the needed energy for the timepiece.
Well, Joanna, time is ticking, so let's move on to the next page, which is from Baume Mercier. What can you say there?
So yes, here we are celebrating 50 years of the Riviera, the iconic timepiece from Baume Mercier, with this dodecagonal case shape and 12-sided shaped case, which is quite unusual, very distinct for the Riviera model. And actually, if you take a look, these are not screws on the bezel. Mm-hmm. This is like an Allen key shape, a 6-sided shape, which gives a little bit more of that sort of technical aspect of the timepiece. So it's letting us dream a little bit of the Riviera. We're in beautiful Geneva, of course, but...
It doesn't compare. And just one more point. So if people do want to get it, there is quite a decent warranty on this.
Yes.
Fun fact.
Correct, yeah. 8 years warranty, which is great. We're seeing the Baumatic movement, so nice that you mentioned that, because this is what people love about this collection. We have a 5-day power reserve also, and it's COSC certified. And we can see it through this beautiful opaque smoked dial, which has this kind of wave effect, alludes to the waves of the French Riviera. So what more could you ask? Beautiful steel case also with a sandblasted titanium bezel. And you might just see on the screen also a 5N gilded PVD steel ring, which we see just in the center of the case. So a really beautiful watch that lets us dream a little bit.
Okay, let's take a look at the next piece now. And this one is from Chanel. Can you just hold it up so everyone can see there? Talk us through this white and black part of the case.
So do not adjust your screens. This is not a pixel that we can easily create. This is a beautiful creation from Chanel this year, the J12 Cybermatic Timepiece, which is made of 2 parts of ceramic. The black ceramic you see on the left-hand side, and this beautiful pixel white ceramic on the other side. So this watch is actually made, first of all, with 2 parts, with 2 complete different molds.
Right, how do they overlap?
Yeah, so it looks seamless here, but they're actually made separately. There's a lot of vertical grinding that has to go on, a lot of polishing, and then the 2 sides are really reunited together as if the watch was always as one piece. So this is really beautiful. I'm so happy to have it in my hands today. You can see also the side profile with those really sharp pixel edges. It again lets us dream a little bit, the futuristic perhaps, into space, whatever, but it takes us away from our everyday mundane.
Well, a lot of dreaming there. So let's move on to you now, Carson. You have the Hermès piece. And Joanna, why don't you hold that up, tilt a little bit for us? What can you tell us there?
Olivia, we are looking at the very iconic looking, without even looking at the watch, you can tell this is an Hermès watch. The orange color, the black case. So let's talk about the watch. It is the H08 chronograph. So you may have seen this watch before, but this is the first year that they come out with the chronograph function. Previously, it was just calendar and time. This year, they are making this watch in a high-performance material, a carbon fiber composite with graphene powder coating on it. And the way that they polish it, you can see the case and the bezel. It has a very, very contrast look to it. And I love the fact that they put the mono pusher, the pusher button, it's inside the crown. So it doesn't really intrude the case, overall case design. The watch is beautiful, super light. I wish you could, you have to get this on your hand and feel the weight of it. Very versatile with the rubber strap, and it's extremely wearable.
It definitely stands out with its bright colors. So next piece that we have for you, please tell me what we have there at the 3 o'clock. That's what I'm looking at right now.
This is, we are now looking at the high-sec Abyss H model. The watch is in gray 5 titanium paired with a blue rubber strap. Now, if you look at the watch is it's got a good size to it. It's 41 millimeter, but if Joanna could show the profile of the watch, you could notice that it has a swivel lux, so it hugs your wrist really nicely. I love this watch. Titanium watch, we've seen a couple already, but I believe this is the first one on the show that has a titanium micro rotor movement. So from the external to the internal, it's all made in titanium. And again, the weight of it is quite amazing at how light it is.
Now, the next piece is from Renaissance, and I'm a bit excited because I think this one is good for those who like to celebrate the weekend.
Yes, you're right. You've done your homework. We're looking at the Renaissance Type 1 round. So we remember previously we have seen the Type 1 in a cushion shape. the founder, the creator of the watch, Benoit Mintiens, he says, better design is less design, function must prevail. He said it that way, but I said it, form follows function, so same. But we are looking at this watch. It's very amazing. If you are unfamiliar with the watch, you were like, how do you tell the time? Now, this watch, if Joanna can show us how the watch runs, you can see the whole dial turns. This Type 1 watch has a more refined dial design. So all the indexes, all the hands, particularly if you look at, there is a circular dial on the watch that indicates the day of the week. It has been graphically simplified. So it made the watch into a very refined look. The watch is 42.7 millimeter with 11 millimeter thickness. So it's quite thin, wear very nicely on the wrist. And if you can show the back of it, that is how it looks. It's amazing. I love this piece.
So, Gianfranco, we haven't forgotten about you. You have a very special piece from Rui de Silva. Walk us through it. And by the way, did we see this last year?
Good memory, I guess, like our guests live. They remember surely how I introduced this specific system, combining two balance wheels connected with T's together, rotating around themselves, balancing the error done by the gravity on a mechanical watch. That's why I don't repeat it today. But let's admire more the artistical approach done by Olivia Kinghorst, representing all the craftsmanship from the Jura, including enameling, guillochage, engraving techniques. And after hundreds and hundreds of hours, we have this piece of art, which represents with, on the upper side, we have this dark blue sky in Aventurine, and where the hand are fixed, we have this beautiful moon with little craters, like a real moon. On the left side, we have this jar pouring azure water in the night. And below, we have this beautiful lotus flower with a little sparkle, which is a diamond sparkling in the center of the lotus flower. And the right side, we have the koi carp swimming in the clear water. And if you have a closer look, I don't see if we see it on the screen, but there is even a little mustache which is visible, which speaks about the attention we gave to the details. And yeah, it's a really beautiful picture of a strong symbol in Asia, symbolizing power and rebirth, and many other ones. So it's really a piece of art, which, by the way, can be finished with the client, as the client will finish the creation with the artist together, which means only one lucky owner in the world will have this watch.
Now, Gianfranco, I have to jump in here because I do want to save enough time for the last piece, which I know probably is very special to you. Considering you're a diver, an avid diver yourself, tell us why.
Yeah, this piece, it's an emblematic watch from Tudor, the Black Bay in 41 millimeter, diving watch, as you said, absolutely. Presented this year with this beautiful burgundy colored rotating bezel around the black dial. Makes it different. It's perhaps one of the trends of this year, even I will say, this color. You recognize obviously this strong luminescent indexes, hour and minute hand, also with a signature with this snowflake design, which makes this watch absolutely recognizable. Interesting is inside we have a mechanical self-winding movement, which has a double certification, a CUSC chronometric certification, but also the META certification, which is even more requiring in accuracy and adds some criteria related to magnetism. But you'll surely also notice the bracelet, this 5-link bracelet, brushed and polished and fixed by this really interesting buckle, which is a T-fit buckle, which allows you to switch between your working suit and your diving suit in few seconds to finish your day.
Perfect for you, correct?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that. A lot of pieces to get through, and you know the drill. That's going to be the case for the rest of the week. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. That's your morning wrap-up of day 3 of Watches and Wonders. Don't miss our late show that's coming at 4:30 p.m, hosted by Belle Donati, and she's going to give you an overview and look into the major watch trends of this year's watch fair. Remember to pencil and make space for your schedule today for these major keynotes still taking place from Hublot, Roger Dubuis, Frédéric Constant, Alpina Watches, Parmigiani Fleurier, Oris, Jaeger-LeCoultre. A lot to get through. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Olivia Kinghorst, and we'll see you nice and early tomorrow morning.